Hello and welcome to the Cabinet of Creations, where you will find horror, beauty and the perfectly imperfect. My Resident Evil Lisa Trevor video seems to have took for ages to finish. But that's because I had a few of these little things going on in the background as well. These will be in my future videos. But for now, let's get back to Resident Evil Lisa Trevor. As usual, I started off by cutting the hair short with a pair of scissors, but not because I was going to get it out from the inside of the head, because her head is going to be covered in like this skin mask thing that she wears, so I didn't need to remove the head or the hair plugs or glue or anything today. I've marked roughly with a pencil where it will be uncovered, so you might see skin. So I'm just doing one side quite dark, as I want that to be shadowy under the mask, and then the left side, or her right side, is where the eye is seen. So I've sprayed it with Mr. Super Clear, and then just going with soft pastels to give definition. I didn't do the torso or all of the head with this, because as mentioned, it will be permanently covered anyway. I'm using watercolour pencils here to do a one eye. Again, spray Mr. Super Clear in between each finish layers that you're happy with. So if you make a mistake or change your mind on the next one, you can simply damp cloth and wipe it away. I'm just using a blender to blend the lines so it's not as harsh. If the watercolour pencils aren't quite as pigmented as you'd hoped, it means you probably need to go in with another layer of Mr. Super Clear. Tried a couple of different methods of making her mask. This one is obviously with foil, and then put tissue paper over it and wet it with watered down PVA. When it dries, it will form a hard surface, which it does, but there's quite a lot of creases in it, so I decided not to do this method. But I thought it's good to leave in to show in case there was something where this method could be utilised for another project in the future, or something that you may be doing. If you use this method or anything similar, just message me on Facebook or drop a comment here. So this time, because of the creases of the foil, I'm just going in with watered down PVA and tissue. This gives a lot smoother feel. Just use a hairdryer to dry it quicker because I'm impatient. There are some creases in there. In the end, I'll just give up and just use polymer clay. I bake it in the oven according to manufacturer's instructions, and then when it's thoroughly cooled down I proceed with sticking the material on with super glue and stitching various other bits of material, and then I go in with watered down brown and a bit of black paint, and this is what I want to create. See how smooth the head bit is and then how raggedy the rest is. I use matte acrylic paints. I go in with brown just to dim the grey really, and then I go over in more of a rancid sort of dead skin colour. And then when it's dry I use a little bit of pastels and dirty up some of the edges, and it's done. And then to make a wooden hand restraint, I used polymer clay rolled into a ball and made it into an oblong, and then fashioned a sort of, well, the same shape out of it, and then put some texture on it using a pointy object, and obviously pushing in holes for her hands. I obviously made a small one, but then realised it was too small and made a larger one. The arms on a Monster High doll are a little restricting. Now on to Lisa's clothes. At the moment, currently, this is pretty much my version of a template. Not very accurate at all, but it does its job, especially for this style. Now I did two dresses, one here with all the stitching. I thought it looked a bit too flouncy at the bottom, so I did it again a little bit more plainer. And then I used the good old method of a tea bag and dipping it into the tea stained water to dull down the dress. And then I go in my trusty matte acrylic paints after it's dried and dirty up the edges and somewhat replicate how it is in the movie. There's a few different sort of fan art and variations of Lisa Trevor, both as in the movie and in the game. So again, I thought I'd vary it, and this is my interpretation of it. I suppose it's more inspired by the movie than the game, with the chains around her ankles, etc. I've just gone for the wooden bit around her wrists. After spraying the finished watercolour pencil work with Mr. Super Clear, I go in with some black acrylic and some red as well, and I think this gives a nice pop of colour quicker than watercolour pencils would. I'll definitely use this method again in the future. I'm just giving the final finishing touch to her eye, and it's with gloss. If you like what I do here on my channel, and there's a couple of ways you can support me. I have something on buymeacoffee.com/fullcreations, where you could donate a couple of quid for a coffee or a little bit more. I also now have a Patreon. Check out all the links in the description, and not forgetting my Amazon wishlist. Even if you just like and subscribe, that means a lot as well. Feel free to leave a comment. I do believe I reply to everyone. So yeah, let's get on with the details. Lisa Trevor's got like a hump in the movie, well, in the movie and the game. So I'm using foil, and then I super glue it on, and also wrap material around it and super glue that on as well, so it ain't going nowhere. And then it means I can stitch up the dress. And there we go. Now let's see the final result.